can you just imagine if I can now rank all governors, all mayors? So malalaman natin who's really a performer or not. Then, nasa sayo na kung gusto mong iboto to o hindi. Tingnan nyo, isipin nyo, paano nyo alam if one is a good congressman or not? Pag umaattend ng kasal, nagiging ninong sa binyag, maganda ang ayuda sa Pasko. Yan ang measure natin eh.
Most of the Filipinos, hindi naman ako naka-invest eh. Bakit ko po problemahin yung nangyayari sa market? Everyone is affected with what is happening ngayon.
We're all affected by this. Whether investor ka o hindi. Well, we'd like everyone to be investors. But even if you're not an investor, it is worse for you.
Hello everyone! Welcome po to Ramper Studios. My name is Trisha, where we help Filipinos achieve their financial dreams. So another day, another episode na naman tayo dito for Ramper Studios. And again, we are here today joined by our very own Boss Rex Mendoza, Chairman of Ramper Financials. Boss Rex, kamusta po from the last episode natin?
Not so good because of the market, but I guess we are where we are and we'll take it on as much as we can.
So, Boss Rex, actually, for our topic for today, gusto ko muna kayong kamustahin. Kamusta naman po yung inyong investment locally?
Well, locally talagang it's fairly challenged. No? I think everyone knows kung ano nangyayari sa market. Very, very volatile and there's this clear indication of a downward trend, no? And we don't know when it's going to recover. So syempre, may impact yan, may tama yan sa personal account natin, may tama yan sa tinatawag nating mga unrealized capital gains. So kung talagang kukumputin mo, talagang kahit papano talagang may tinatawag na paper losses.
Opo. Actually, ngayon din kasi, of course, we're aware na down nga po yung market. Pero, ang tanong din kasi ng karamihan, kayo po kasi, of course, seasoned investor na din kayo. So, you know kung saan papasok ang certain opportunity. But for those mga ka-RFF and other viewers natin na first time or hindi sanay sa gantong klaseng down na market, totoo ba na, is it worth it to invest pa rin sa Philippine market?
I think the answer to that is clearly a yes. But it's a cautionary yes kasi hindi naman pwedeng sabihin na okay, mura and then we all put all our bets inside this market. Hindi ganon. Parang sinasabi kong yes kasi kahit papano, Trisha, napagdaanan na natin yan eh, di ba? I mean, I'm going to probably reveal age here, but I've been playing this market for over 40 years now. So, alam na natin in all those 40 years, almost one every 12 to 13 years, may nangyayaring ganito eh. So, parang kahit papano, siguro nung na-experience ko to ng unang beses, talagang, talagang nanlulumo ka, talagang meron kang tinatawag na takot at nanlulumo ka din dahil talagang lugi. Pero over time, na-realize mo, nangyayari pala talaga yan in a cycle that the Philippines is really caught in, right? So, if you now begin to expect na talagang mangyayari yan every so often, mas handa ka na siguro dahil alam mo naman, hindi yan forever na nasa state na ganito eh. Magbabago yan. Hindi lang natin alam kung kailan, pero alam nating magbabago. So, it might be an opportunity for us to take picks or yung tinatawag nating kahit papano mga surefire bets na if you just have the waiting time, if you have the capability to hold on and hang on, you will be handsomely rewarded. Pero marami akong sasabihing mga quotes na ganito, but I'd really want to push it out there. The market can stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent. So ano ibig sabihin nun? Mura. Pero pag bumili ka, kaya mo ba talagang tiisin na maipit yung pera mo sa loob? Kasi pwedeng magtagal eh. Tsaka alam mo, yung mura, relative yan. Yung mura pwede pang maging lalong mas mura.
Opo.
So, yun ba, itataya mo, ilalabas mo lahat ng bala mo? Siyempre, hindi. Hindi man tayo sigurado sa kalagayan ng market. So, pwedeng pakonti-konti and then alamin natin sa sarili natin, kaya ba natin talagang iwan dyan? Maipit man yan, laban na yan. Total, ang pinaka-importante po dito, babalik natin, objectives, di ba? Para saan ba yung pera? Kung kailangan ko yan for my Christmas shopping, medyo delikado na, hindi mo na yan kailangan ilagay. Pero pag sinabi mong kailangan ko yan for my retirement, which is a long time from now, abay pwede. Di ba? So, again, sigun yan sa lahat ng maraming factors. Kaya, hindi ko sasabihin unequivocal na yes or no. Ang ibig sabihin lang yan, naaangkop ba sa objective mo? Kita bang match yan sa horizon mo? Tama ba yung risk? And in the end, asset allocation para nakakatulog ka sa gabi.
Actually, Boss Rex, balikan natin, may sinabi kayo kanina na totoo, I think some of the Filipinos and mga ka-RFFs natin, iniintay pa yung pagbaba ng value, kung pag bumili ba ako, bigla siyang tataas. Yung parang nagwe-wait sila ng perfect timing. Pero sabi nga, di ba, wala namang perfect timing sa market. Pero Boss Rex, as I've mentioned nga po, since you've been over this all over again, yung down ng market, tapos biglang tataas po, ibig sabihin, para sa inyo po ba, hindi naman gaano ka-serious yung nangyayari ngayon sa Pilipinas in terms of confidence crisis?
Actually, serious. Kasi syempre, on a personal basis, also speaking for and in behalf of my family, my younger children, syempre, hindi natin maiaalis, napaka-ipokrito naman natin kung hindi natin sasabihin na apektado tayo. Kasi, what will that situation be? How will our country be pagdating ng panahon na, yan, kayo, panahon nyo na, di ba? So, ito bang mga fundamental weaknesses na ito makakasama sa atin? The answer is yes. No, and you hope na kahit papano, magdala itong karanasan na to ng tinatawag nating totoong pagbabago. Pero as I say this, hindi ko maiaalis talaga eh. Sabi ko nga, 40 years na ako dito, di ba? So, balikan ko yan. Nangyari yan nung 1986 eh. Di ba? We were like in the doldrums for 2 years, starting 1983 when Aquino got shot. Tapos, talagang tulog yan. Rally nga halos araw-araw. Ngayon nga, yung mga rally, manipis pa eh. Dati, every day, nasa kanto kami ng Paseo de Rojas at Ayala Avenue. Araw-araw yan. Yung tinatawag nating mga Yellow Ribbon Brigade. I think some of our ka-RFFs will actually reminisce and see that na, sorry medyo panapanahon lang talaga, there was a time na pumupunit pa kami ng mga pages ng yellow, yung yellow directory. Sabi nga nila noon, yellow pages. Kasi di ba, yellow ribbon yung theme. So, tinatapon yan sa labas ng building, puro yellow strips of paper. It happened every day. Can you just imagine? So, fast forward, 30 plus years, ganun pa rin tayo eh. Nandun pa din. Parang hindi pa rin tayo natuto. But was it an opportunity then? The answer is yes. We came up with a revolution. There were structural at saka yung tinatawag nating fundamental changes in our government and in our economy. And it was good for us. Unfortunately, hindi natin tinuloy-tuloy eh. So pabalik-balik tayo. And here we are again. Sabihin nga natin na magnify pa yung mga numerong involved, na magnify pa yung kalokohang involved, at na magnify pa yung dami ng taong kasali. So, hopefully this will, again, serve as a catalyst for us to push for change. And if ever that change happens, which I'm very, very optimistic about, alam ko naman na ang Pilipino, pag nalalagay sa alanganing kalagayan, kagaya nito, we bounce naman eh. We rise to the occasion. I hope na it just happens soon. So, looking back, nangyari na. Sort of saying, napanood ko na itong sining ito eh, di ba? So now, ang thrust ko is, how can I now position myself? Kasi alam ko naman, hindi tayo forever nandito. Sabi ko nga sa mga kaibigan ko, Tricia, kung number one, hindi tayo maging komunista. Kasi pag naging komunista tayo, yun na yung downside na talagang hindi na pwede tayong bumawi. Pangalawa, baka naman mangyari nga yung the big one. tapos mag-slide ang Pilipinas sa dagat. O di wala na rin tayo. Number 3, pwedeng talagang ultimately a civil war. So, if you're going to be looking at those 3 possibilities, parang hindi naman ganun kataas yung probability, di ba? Babalik at babalik tayo. We are a democratic state. We are a country of working institutions. And I hope that people get to realize we have a bigger sense of responsibility for the future of our children. So, pag naayos yan, maganda ang kalalagyan natin sa investments natin.
Bale, Boss Rex, to recap, sinasabi niyo po na it's just a phase. Itong nangyayari ngayon sa Philippine market. And also, knowing with your experiences, Boss Rex, pwede siyang maging good opportunity for people to invest in. Doesn't matter if how much yung market value as long as they started investing if they would. Kasi napansin ko din po talaga, Boss Rex, yung continuous na pag-withdraw, pagbaba ng PSI, talagang parang siguro iniisip ng mga Pilipino, I have to save myself, pabagsak ang ekonomiya natin. But does that really saves them? Naliligtas ba nila yung sarili nila by withdrawing, or sooner or later baka mas magsisi sila na bakit nila tinanggal yung investments nila?
Ako laging ang prinsipyo ko dyan, Tricia, ganito parang kung ibebenta ko ito ngayon, ang unang tanong, saan ko siya ilalagay? Di ba? Unang-una nga, meron tayong tinatawag na paper loss dahil bumaba na So tatanggalin ko, saan ko siya ilalagay? At definitely, kailangan ang pag-iisip natin ganito. Pag tinanggal ko yan, dapat ilagay ko sa makakabawi. Pagpalagay natin, nalugi ka ng X%. Let's say 10%. Biglang ilalagay mo ngayon sa savings account mo. Yung savings account mo, 0.25%. Ilang taon yan bago mo mabawi yung pagkalugi. Pangalawa, pag sinasabing masama ang panahon, actually, baka dapat bumibili ka. Di ba? Dapat nag-average down tayo. Yung tinatawag na peso cost averaging. Ang bili mo sa isang stock, let's say 25 pesos, bumaba ng 20 pesos. Di ba? Anong gagawin natin? Kung bumili ka uli, mapa-average mo maging 22.5 na lang. Pabawi pa lang yung iba, kumikita ka na. So it's also a good opportunity to lower our what we call acquisition cost or investment value. But at the end of the day, kailangan isipin din ng ating mga ka-RFFs, it's a good time to clean up and position a portfolio. What do I mean by that? Siguro, learning experience ito. Bakit ganyan kasama ang loob ng marami? Nakataya tayo solidly on the Philippine market lang gumuho yun. So, paano? 100% exposed ka. Samantalang kung nag-isip tayo, and ito sana naman po nakikinig kayo, last year pa namin sinasabi na meron tayong mga funds that invest in the US markets. Meron tayong mga funds na nag-i-invest in other Asian markets. Meron din naman tayong thematic funds. Kung yun, nailagay natin sa ating portfolio, like let's say 60-40 or 70-30, kahit papano, nangyari man ito sa Pilipinas, maganda naman ang takbo ng mga presyo ng stock sa Amerika, sa China. Di dapat bawi tayo. And many of our ka-RFFs na nakinig po sa atin at nag-invest at nag-diversify, hindi sila masyadong luhaan, di ba? Kasi yung pula na nakikita nila dun sa kanilang Philippine exposure, nababawi nung green dun sa Asia, US at thematic exposure. So all told, ano man ang mangyari, resilient ka kasi yung portfolio mo, merong sabihin na nating challenge portion at meron din namang nananalo na portion, di ba? So altogether, it's still positioned for growth over time. Ganun ang gusto nating mangyari.
Actually, Boss Rex, with what you've mentioned, na-relate ako dyan kasi currently naka-invest din ako both. Actually, nung first, naka-invest ako sa Philippine market, not until I was introduced din sa global investment. Tapos napansin ko na, ayun nga, nag-peso cost average siya. Yung parang, dahil bagsak ngayon ng Philippine market, tapos okay ang global, parang hindi ko siya masyadong ramdam na lugi kasi ako, lagi kong iniisip na, of course, I do contents. I also have to position myself as a client. So, nung nakita ko na talagang, let's say, more than 10% yung bagsak ng Philippine investments ko, tapos nagkaroon ng gain yung global. Tapos, alam niyo yun, parang confident ako kasi knowing my goal is, itong investment ko, magsisit kasi yan for years. And there's no urgency sa akin na i-withdraw ko siya sooner or later. I think, mga ka-RFF, it's all about the goal din, kung bakit ka talaga nag-i-invest. Kasi if mag invest ka to withdraw it sooner or later, I think that is not investment.
Exactly. Kasi tama yung sinasabi mo, ano? Between you and me, Tricia, ang bata-bata mo pa eh. So, marami ka pang dadaan ng dekada of volatility, of opportunities. And ako siguro, sabi ko nga, may napagdaanan na ako and hopefully that learning would probably equate to you. Kasi lagi naman tayo nag-uusap, nagkakaroon tayo ng mga ganitong episodes, no? So, in effect, lamang na lamang ka because yung trajectory mo, yung runway mo, mahaba pa eh. Batang-bata ka pa eh. So, siguro, your edge is this, that you know what to do at that age, something that I learned later on in my life. Diba? Yun ang offer ni Ramver sa lahat ng ating mga ka-RFFs, di ba? Yung parang the experience of people who have gone through these things, no? These kinds of markets, na pinapasa natin yung kaalaman na yan para you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Hindi mo na kailangan ulit-ulitin yan. You can actually learn from the mistakes of others, learn from the experiences of others, and use that so that you are going to be firmer on your track towards a real prosperous and secure future.
Actually, thank you so much, Boss Rex, for that sentiment. Alam nyo, everyone, sa mga ka-RFF natin there, if you have certain questions for us, lalo na kay Boss Rex, please use the hashtag AskRamver para masagot namin yan to our future episodes. So, next po tayo, Boss Rex. Alam naman natin na medyo tagilid nga po ang Philippine market ngayon, but how does what's happening here sa Philippines affects our foreign investors?
Kasi ang issue dito talaga, kaya medyo challenge tayo, no? We have a very small market at kailangan talaga natin yung foreign fund managers mag-invest sa ating local market for the volume, no? Unfortunately, we're not getting that volume. Hindi tayo favorite. In fact, based on the analysts' reports, no, all throughout the last 3 to 5 years, medyo net foreign selling yung market natin. So, yung naipon natin nung panahon ni Pinoy na mas maraming foreign funds ang pumasok sa merkado natin, parang in the last 5 years, lumalabas sila. So, again, law of supply and demand. As I'm saying, the companies are doing well, yung mga kumpanya kumikita. Hindi naman sila lugi, kumikita sila. Pero, bakit mababa ang presyo? Kasi, karamihan ng stock price movements, dala din yan ang tinatawag na supply and demand. Pag maraming bumibili, aakit ang presyo. Pag maraming nagbebenta, bababa ang presyo. Yung foreign fund managers, sila ang malaki ang pang-invest, sila ang malaki ang pera. Kung sila nagbebenta, hindi sila kayang salubungin ang retail market natin na local eh. So, talagang merong tinatawag na pressure for prices to go down. So, why are we in that state? Kasi nga, ang problema natin, lalo na fairly recently, is confidence. Hindi confident yung mga foreign fund managers, hindi confident yung mga international funds about the Philippines. Now, am I really saying it's all that bad? No, it's not that bad. However, we're not the only game in town. Diba? Nandyan ang Indonesia, nandyan ang Vietnam, nandyan ang China, nandyan ang Singapore. They have options. So kung ako, nag-iisip ako, hindi lang naman yan, will I invest in the Philippines or not? Hindi ganun ang tanong nila eh. Ang tanong nila, mag-i-invest ako sa Asia, saan ko ilalagay? Ayun. Di ba, magulo si Pilipinas. Bet ko dyan ilalagay. Itong tinutino nitong ibang mga countries na to. Wala silang flood control project, di ba? Tapos, hindi sila baba ng rate kasi we're actually bringing down rates to uplift the economy. Unfortunately, because of the lack of confidence, kahit binaba mo na yung rate, hindi naman umuutang ang mga kumpanya eh. So ano nangyayari? nawi-weaken lang yung exchange rate natin. So, remember, kung ako foreign fund manager, papasok ako sa Pilipinas. O bumili ako ng investment. Let's say, yung investment ko, 10 pesos. Okay? Nung binili ko yung 10 pesos stock, yung exchange rate, 58 lang. Diba? So, bumili ako ng peso at 58, binenta ko yung dollar ko para makapag-invest. O ngayon yung peso, 59 na. Kahit hindi gumalaw yung stock, binenta ko siya at 10. Pag binalik ko yung sa dollars, lugi na ako. So, kailangan isipin din niya ng foreign fund managers, how can I invest in countries na hindi ako masyadong exposed to what we call foreign exchange risk? Kasi, pwedeng yung kikitain mo sa isang merkado, mabubura nung weakness ng foreign exchange value nila tayo sa Asia ngayon, ang peso ang isa sa, kung hindi man weakest, isa sa pinaka-weakest. So, wala na silang confidence dahil merong ng mga flood control, merong rally-rally, tapos mahina pa yung exchange rate natin. So, that's again another problem. Pangatlo, and this for me is big. Napakanipis ng market natin. How many shares or how many companies are listed in our exchange? Compare that to Indonesia. Compare that to a Vietnam. Lalo na, compare that to a Singapore. They have choices. So tayo, napakanipis, wala pang volume. Kung foreign fund manager ka, ano yung fear mo? Baka maipit ka. Pumasok ka, may opportunity, hindi ka makakalabas kasi walang bumibili. So takot ka. So, all told, pag nakita mo lahat yung picture na yan, parang, for a foreign fund manager, siguro mag-allocate ka, napakaliit. At kung meron man, dun mo lang ilalagay yan sa kakaunting selection of stocks. So, we are at the disadvantage. Let's face it. It is real. And I guess, sa mga nakikinig, hopefully, meron tayong mga regulatory executives and meron tayong government officials dyan. Something has to happen to incentivizing companies to list on the exchange. Something has to happen in terms of structural changes to provide support for the markets and capital market growth in general. Kasi ang problema natin, it's not just the economy, pati yung tinatawag na market structure, problema din.
Yung market structure po, Boss Rex, kasi I think most of the Filipinos, hindi naman ako naka-invest bakit ko po problemahin yung nangyayari sa market? Does everyone is affected with what is happening ngayon po ba sa market?
Oo. Kasi again, maaring sasabihin mo, wala ka namang investment di hindi ka kasali, 'di ba? Wala kang exposure. Pero teka lang, hindi mo pa alam yung kalagayan mo. Talagang apektado yan ng lahat ng ito Kasi for example, GDP. Siguro mas madaling intindihin na yung galaw ng ekonomiya, yung growth, as a whole, as a country, is going to be a function of several things. Yung consumer spending, yung capital formation, government spending, at maybe exports. Yan ang 4 main pillars ng GDP growth Pag ang GDP growth mataas, ang isang bansa magiging active ang ekonomiya. Anong mangyayari? Dadami ang trabaho, tataas ang sweldo, apektado lahat tayo. So, para sa isang Pilipino, dapat i-assume natin na mag-grow ang ating bansa, mag-grow ang ating country. So, yung 4 na yun, tingnan mo na lang. 'Di ba? Ulitin ko, consumer spending, capital formation, government spending, tapos yung tinatawag na export. Yung export, mahina na tayo doon. Kasi, 'di ba, yung ating manufacturing facility, talagang medyo hindi na pagtuunan ng pansin, hindi na bigyan ng incentives, yung mga makinaryang dapat pumasok, wala. Yung skilling ng mga tao, yung upskilling na tinatawag, wala. So, mahina na yung export. Okay? Ngayon, isa-isayin ko to, nakakatuwa, pero nakakatuwang nakakaawa tayo, di ba? So, ang isang dyan, yung capital formation. Dahil ang sentiment nga, mababa, di ba? Walang papasok na investment. Walang papasok na investment, magiging matumal ang ekonomiya. So, apektado tayo. sweldo natin, mga oportunidad natin. Very limited. Okay. Sabi nila, apektado ba ako ng flood control? Bakit hindi magiging apektado ng flood control? Dahil sa flood control scandals na yan, number one, nasayang ang taxes natin. Nasayang ang pera natin. Nag-contribute tayo dyan. Di ba?
Oo nga.
Nasayang yan. Di ba? Pero hindi lang yan eh. Alam mo, ang malaking problema dyan, yung flood control na yan, magdadala pa yan ng future problems. Bakit? Di ba lahat ngayon concerned? Lahat magmamalinis, lahat magbabantayan. Babagal ang government spending. Di ba lahat ng mga, mga ahensya ngayon ng gobyerno, nagtitinginan at nagbabantayan. So walang gagalaw. Pag walang gumalaw, paano yung government spending na kalakip ng GDP growth? Hihina din yun. Pag humina yon, mahina ang capital formation, mahina ang exports and manufacturing, guess what? Di syempre, consumer spending will also go down. Diba? Ikaw, ang laki ng bonus mo for Christmas, hindi ba? Syempre, mag-aalalay ka, hindi mo gustong gastusin kasi baka mag-worsen yung economy. Dahil hindi ka gagastos, bababa ang benta ng mall. Pag bumaba ang benta ng mall, bababa din ang benta ng mga negosyante. Pag bumaba ang benta ng mga negosyante, next year, hindi sila mag-expand. Hindi sila hire ng tao. Di apektado na naman tayong lahat. So, mga ka-RFF, yun ang gusto kong sabihin. No? Akala ng marami, yung mga usaping ganyan, pang-investors lang yan. No, we're all affected by this. Whether investor ka o hindi. Well, we'd like everyone to be investors. But even if you're not an investor, it is worse for you. Dahil yung impact sa'yo, almost on a direct basis. On all fronts. Ngayon nga tayo, di ba, dahil invested tayo sa foreign funds, kahit papano, may cushion tayo eh. Pero paano yung walang investment? Di ba? Isipin mo yung value ng sweldo nila bumaba dahil sa inflation o kahit sabihin mo ng mababa ang inflation, yung exchange rate. Siyempre, mga binibili natin imported eh. You buy less. Di ba? Pangalawa, medyo yung propensity mo or capability mo to have better earnings next year also in peril. So lahat apektado, Tricia. It's something that we have to be very conscious of as a people because it affects us all.
Grabe, Boss Rex. Ang dami nga sabi ni Boss Rex, masyado akong naalog. Pero with that, Boss, you've mentioned kanina, dahil nga medyo mababa ang confidence sa Philippine market, and then, as a foreign investor, hindi ka lang naman sa Philippines tumitingin. Nagkataon lang na there's a lot of opportunities in the Philippines pero hindi siya na-utilize ng ayos. So, positioning our country with other ASEAN countries, how was it? Ano yung ginagawa nilang tama na hindi nagagawa ng Pilipinas? Bakit tayo nagkakaganto? Aside from the issues with the corruption po.
Ang dami nilang ginagawa. Nakakalungkot sabihin kasi kitang-kita eh. For example, ito na lang, no? Alam naman natin, everyone's fighting for what we call tourism receipts. Di ba? Yung pagdating ng mga turista, kasi mga turista gagasta, papasok sa ekonomiya, yung spending nila, mag-fuel ng velocity of money in a given economy. So dapat, nag-iimbita tayo ng tinatawag nating tourism arrivals and tourism spending. Okay? Isa yan sa engines natin of growth. Pero, alam mo naman yung mga airport natin, di ba? Para, ang sama ng experience, di ba? So, hindi lang infrastruktura, even the soft part of it, di ba? Yung training ng mga tao, yung service orientation. Alam mo, pumunta ka ng Singapore, doon pa lang sa immigration, may candy ka na. Di ba? Talagang alam mo na pag tumatanggap sila sa'yo, merong kakaagad na welcoming feel na gaganahan kang gumasta. Di ba? Pangalawa, yung iba, like Hong Kong for example now, nagbibigay pa ng, pag qualified tourist ka, bibigyan ka pa ng $100 to $700 para pang shopping mo. Di ba? Isipin mo yon yung gaganahan ka talaga eh. Tapos yung kanilang transport systems, hindi lang yung airport, very efficient. Kasi may mga train sila, may mga grab sila, may mga taxi sila, ang titino lahat. Okay. pumunta ka ng Pilipinas, parang gauntlet.
Oo
Di ba?
nga po. Sabi nga nila, pag nagta-travel ka, mapapaisip ka, bakit? Bakit ganun yung Pilipinas? Nagagets ko, Boss Rex, sa part na yun, which is why siguro nahuhuli ang Pilipinas in terms of what's happening sa ating economy.
Oo, kasi di ba, pagbaba mo pa lang, pumunta ka sa airport, hindi pa umaandar yung carousel, di ba? Ang bagal-bagal. O remember, ito pa yung mahirap, di ba? Yung lahat tayo dadaan sa NAIA, Terminal 1, 2, or 3. Bago ka pa makarating ng destination na gusto mo, Cebu, Boracay, di ba? Siargao, yan naman ang gusto ng puntahan ng mga turista. Hindi naman sila masyadong ano lang sa Makati or BGC. Siyempre, gustong lumabas ng mga yan. Yung mga beaches na gusto nilang puntahan. So what does that mean? Hindi lang sila lalanding sa NAIA, magta-transfer pa sila to a local airport. O yung nakakatawa dyan, di ba? Pagdating nila doon, may talagang backward na backward. Hindi ba? Ikikwento ko to sa'yo. Nakakatuwa ito eh. Nakasakay ako sa isang eroplano, kasama ko, puro Hapon. One airline, puro Hapon ang kasama ko. So, it's a small plane because we're going to a small island. Di ko na sasabihin kasi baka sumikat pa, di ba? Delikado. Pababa yung eroplano namin, tuwan-tuwa yung mga Hapon. Pumipicture na sa bintana dahil, talagang white sand, yung mga islands, mga beaches, ang gaganda. Picture ng picture. O, pagbaba, biglang umakyat yung eroplano. So parang nagulat yung mga Hapon. Ba't tayo lumipad uli? Pababa na tayo. Yun yung type ng eroplano na napakaliit, kayang-kaya mong kausapin yung pilot, walang pinto eh. So, nandun ako sa may harap, sinabi ko, bay, ano nangyari? Bakit tayo paakyat uli? Ang sagot ng pilot, sir, may baka sa runway. Isipin mo. May baka sa runway, baka mabangga yung eroplano ng baka, kaya umakyat agad. Kung ikaw yung isa sa Hapon na kasama ko, ano mararamdaman mo? Baka hindi mo na matandaan yung white beach. Hindi mo na matandaan yung powdery sands. Ang matatandaan mo, muntik ako namatay dahil may baka sa runway. Di ba? So parang nakakapanlumo, nakakaya. And that's the reason why, results-wise, the impact is not laughable. Vietnam and Thailand has over 5 to 10 times more tourist arrivals than we do. Ito ko, aaminin ko to sa lahat, mga ka-RFF. And I mean, I'm well-traveled. I think many people know that. I've been to many great places in the world. Pero sasabihin ko to sa inyo ng tahasan, walang halong, hypocrisy. We have the best destinations in the Philippines. Natural resource-wise, best beaches, best nature, mountains, the best. Pero pagdating sa experience, kapos tayo. Pagdating sa infrastructure, kapos tayo. So natatalo tayo ng man-made ng iba. Yung natural natin, nasasayang natin. We should be at the top in terms of a list ng maraming destinations na kailangan puntahan. Many people don't know this. There are 10 best dive sites in Asia. 10. You know, out of 10, 4 are in the Philippines. 4. Di ba? At yung isang top dive site, walang matinong hotel nakatabi. So you can just imagine why we're not getting the arrivals that we should be getting. And sayang. So, ito tourism pa lang. Di lalo na pagdating sa investment management and fund management. Lalo na pagdating sa manufacturing, pagdating sa services. Lahat yan may tinatawag na infrastructure and yung tinatawag na hard skills and soft skills to go with it that gets it to another level.
So, with our next topic, boss, since ang pinaka-hot topic talaga ngayon is the scandal. Yes, you've mentioned kanina na the corruption, the market sentiments, and the confidence is bumababa na. Does it really ends here? Like, pag po ba, let's say, na-resolve, kasi ang daming mga Pilipino, ang hinihintay, may makulong eh. And pag may makulong, there will be an impact and change, not only in investment, but also with our market. Does it end there po, Boss Rex?
I don't think it ends there. I think it will lead to a lot of changes and reforms. And gano'n naman tayo always as a country and as a people. Kailangan may mangyari. At pag may nangyari, maglilinis tayo. So, we're very reactive, no? Rather than proactive. But, again, if it has to happen because there was a catalyst for making it happen, so be it. The important thing is how we get to respond. And I guess we're seeing that now, di ba? Nire-revisit nila yung budget process. I think sa ngayon, yung ating tinatawag na the congressional budget process is now being made robust by a lot of people who now want to correct it, who now want to establish control measures. So ako, lahat yan, plus yan. But, ang masakit dito yung tinatawag na adjustment process. Kasi habang nag-a-adjust tayo, babagal lahat yan. I will tell you, it will slow down. And if it really slows down, it will, basically impact the growth that we're going to have in the next year. So kaya nga marami tayong nakakausap na analysts, ang tingin nila sa 2026, a tale of two halves. Yung first half, siguradong mabagal yan. And because maganda ang growth ng first half of 2025, the first half of 2026 will be a challenging one. However, yung second half, by that time, umaandar na uli yung gears of growth, medyo tapos na yung adjustment period. So yung next half, sigurado will be a robust one, will be an active one, and hopefully, makabawi tayo. Most of the studies, most of the forecasts that I've seen puts the PSEI at about 7.5 next year. So that's substantial growth from where we are today. So good money to be made there if you just position yourself correctly.
Pag sinabi niyong boss kanina po na mabagal yung pag-akyat ulit ng growth ng Pinas dahil because of the transition, yun po ba?
Yes. Kasi nga, sabihin na natin na mag-iingat ang marami, like lalo na ngayon, di ba? Parang alam natin na anything can happen. So, ayaw nating umutang, ayaw natin to put ourselves at risk. So, even yung consumer spending babagal. At ito, ramdam na ramdam natin. Alam mo, again, based on alam naman na marami dyan na director ako ng iba't ibang kumpanya, di ba? Ramdam na ramdam po sa sales natin during the holidays. Medyo mabagal ang pasok. Dapat ngayon, marami nang nagsha-shopping, hindi ba? Sabi ng iba, baka naman online. Pati yung online shopping ngayon, medyo nag-dip ng konti. So, maraming naniniguro. And because of these adjustments, because of these lack of confidence, and because of this, sasabihin na nating safety precautions, medyo hindi magiging ganon ka-brisk ang ating growth for the first half of next year.
So, with that, Boss Rex, talagang malaki din talaga yung impact na nangyayari ngayon sa corruption issues. It's just a big part of the pie. Pero not everything is nagiging reason bakit mababa ba yung ating market ngayon, Boss Rex?
Parang ganun parang kasama din yan Parang may tinatawag tayong trickle-down effect, Trisha. Parang sometimes it's not direct, but it's going to be hampered by it. Now, one of the things that I can tell you that's happening today is this. No? Meron namang mga legitimate project Meron naman talagang mga ginagawa either sa probinsya or in the metropolis, totoong mga bridges, totoong mga kalye. Pati yung mga yun babagal Kasi yung disbursement, as I've said earlier, magbabantayan yan. Mag-iingat ang tao. So, pati yung legit na project, babagal ang funding. Kasi hindi kagad marireleasan. So, what will happen? Ako ngayon yung contractor, ako yung honest contractor. Dahil hindi ako mababayaran, ako pa ngayon mag-finance nung construction ko, which makes my margins less. And because my margins are less, I will also cut down on my people. And when I cut down on people, konti ang magkakaroon ng trabaho, konti ang magkaka-increase sa kanilang mga sahod. So, may problema tayo economy-wise getting into the future.
Napansin ko nga rin po, Boss Rex, yung mga legitimate and honest, let's say, contractors or other projects ng government, pati sila nasisilip. Every time na nag-release ng budget, iniisip nila lahat yan makukurakot. Which is kinda scary din kasi parang there are really some projects na for the growth of the economy and there are ghost projects. So parang naghahalo siya, lahat ng tao nakatingin din, saan mo mapupunta ang pera na to? Napapansin din ko siyan, Boss Rex, sa social medias.
And I agree with this, Trisha, no? Kasi unfair din talaga eh, di ba? Unfair. Kasi parang, bakit ako maapektuhan eh, legit naman yung ginagawa ko, matino naman yung construction ko. Pero, ang hirap kasi hanapin kung sino yung culprit at sinong hindi. So, anong nangyayari? Parang, it's a blanket view on everyone na parang lahat guilty without, being parang really investigated on. Parang, hinto muna tayo dahil ayokong malagay sa alanganin. Parang ganun ang attitude ng marami.
With this, Boss Rex, what do you think, syempre, hindi naman sa mga ka-RFF pinag-uusapan namin anything. It's all about investment. Sabi nga ni Boss Rex, everything is like a domino effect, no? Lahat talaga maaapektuhan, whether we like it or not, whether we are an investor or not. Pero, para magkaroon talaga ng changes, although medyo mabagal po yung growth, what should the Philippines do? What should our government do para magkaroon talaga ng changes po?
Okay, for me, they've already started. No? I like what I see. And the first thing that I'd really suggest, which as I've said, they're doing, is changes in leadership. Kasi di ba, pag tainted ang mga nasa taas, mahihirapan ka eh. Kasi alam ng mga tao, hindi mapagkakatiwalaan, di ba? So, yan, yung pagpasok ni Vince Dizon, yung pag-change ng ating, finance area, yung hawak ng budget, medyo talagang may track record ng mga tao, that's a start. Because as Simon Sinek will always say, everything boils down to leadership. So, as leaders are not parang tainted with corruption, as leaders have what we call the moral ascendancy, then everything else will follow. So that's one. Second is systems. Alam mo, ewan ko kung bakit kinokontra pa natin yung computerization. In many government agencies, sasabihin nila, hindi pwedeng i-computerize, hindi pwedeng gawin yan. Kasi alam nyo, pag hindi ginagawa, may room for corruption eh. Pero pag yan completely computerized, mahihirapan ka ng gumalaw in terms of pandaraya, di ba? So for me, it's high time that we optimize the use of technology, even AI, for regulation and for budgeting purposes and for disbursements of the government. So number 3, and this is very important, that Filipinos hold themselves to a higher level of standard. Kasi alam mo, Trisha, at the end of the day, ito yung sasabihin ko. No? In the end, it will be in our hands. All of us. No? Kayo mga ka-RFF, kami, lahat tayo responsible dyan eh. Bakit? Di ba tayong bumuboto? Ako, 100% it all boils down to that. The leaders we elect. And quite frankly, that's the reason why I always say na kasama nung pagbabago is a systematized approach to the way we elect our leaders. Paano nyo ba nakakwalify? Sino talaga yung performer at non-performer? It is high time we look at the meritocracy of our government officials, especially the elected ones. Tingnan nyo, isipin nyo, paano nyo alam if one is a good congressman or not? Pag umaattend ng kasal, nagiging ninong sa binyag, maganda ang ayuda sa Pasko, yan ang measure natin eh. So, that person is not a performer, but he gets our trust and confidence. Bakit? May nagawa for me. Alam nyo, minsan, it's all self-serving. Nakakahiya, di ba? Na napaka-self-serving ng dating mo, yung panandali ang ligaya mo, tinaya mo yung future ng bansa mo. But, what if we test all of our government officials, tapos gumawa tayo ng kagaya, tayo, sa Ramper, di ba? Meron tayong tinatawag na performance evaluation. Di ba? Meron kang tinatawag na KRA o Trisha, ilang video ang ginawa mo o ilang views ka. Lahat yan hindi mo pwedeng bulahin ako. Hindi mo ako pwedeng sabihin, ay, Boss Rex, di ba? Hindi. May numero eh. Yun ang wala natin sa ating government officials. What if, can you just imagine, what if we can measure an official kung magkano yung impact niya sa tinatawag nating HDI++. Ano yung HDI++? Human Development Index. Yung lugar niya, tumaas ba ang level ng education? Tumaas ba ang level ng health? Meaning, yung life expectancy ng population dun sa probinsya niya, tumaas. Bumaba ba ang crime rate? Di ba? So, alam nyo, itong measures na to, may data yan. Pero hindi natin binabasa, hindi natin kinukolekta. Can you just imagine if I can now rank all governors, all mayors, ito yung HDI++ ng kanilang mga bayan at kanilang mga probinsya. So malalaman natin who's really a performer or not. Then, nasa sayo na kung gusto mong iboto to o hindi. But you know that you will now make decisions on outright measures of performance. Sa amin po, sa number, alam namin sinong bibigyan ng bonus, sinong bibigyan ng increase, sino yung performer, sinong hindi. Sabi, hindi pwedeng lalambing-lambing lang si Tricia sa akin, okay na yun. Hindi pwede. Kailangan may tinatawag na KPIs or Key Performance Indicators. We do not have that in our government officials. What we need to do is to create a system, a performance rating system para we can rate them and we can put publicly sino ba yung okay at sino yung hindi. Yan ang kailangan natin in our country so that people can be more conscious about voting the right leaders into power.
Bale, Boss Rex, it's really, boiling down to standard. Ano ba yung talagang standard ng Pilipino? At tayo din everyone ang may kasalanan kung bakit nagkakaganto ang ating ekonomiya ngayon. Kasi kung titingnan mo nga naman, as I've mentioned and as Boss Rex mentioned, lahat na nangyayari, parang meron tayong free will, meron tayong desisyon kung sinong tamang iboboto, kung ano magiging prinsipyo natin. Kasi maraming ang Pilipino ang totoong self-serving na kung titingnan during, let's say, elections, kung ano yung nakaka-benefit sa'yo, pero kailangan mo rin siyang tingnan on a wider scale, ano yung makaka-benefit sa lugar ko, sa bayan ko, at lalo na sa Pilipinas. Of course, our country itself. So, next topic, Boss Rex. You've mentioned kanina, AI. AI has becoming, kumbaga, nagkakaroon na siya ng role, not only here in the Philippines, but worldwide in general. Ngayon, dito kasi sa Pilipinas, alam natin na BPO, malaki ang contribution nila when it comes sa ating market. But ano yung position ngayon ng BPO in our country and in our industry here in the Philippines if papasukan na siya ng AI? Kasi nakita ko din may usap-usapan about it.
Tama ka eh. Ang BPO kasi, we call it one of our pillars of economic growth now. Kasi from about, kung matatandaan ko if it serves me right, my memory serves me right, in 2009, mga nasa 950 million yan in terms of contribution to the economy. But if you look at 2024 numbers, naging 36.5 billion yan. So, it's a major contributor to our economic engine. Unfortunately though, because of AI, karamihan ng trabaho dyan baka mawala. Kasi yung voice, yung tinatawag na service function, low level of interaction, pwedeng mawala na yan. And I will tell you, some countries have used AI for their service platforms in retail, in banking, even in insurance. No? So baka mawala ng negosyo at trabaho ang ating mga BPOs at BPO agents. So anong kailangan? That they have to elevate and put themselves into a higher level of value by upskilling and understanding AI. Kasi hindi naman ako talaga naniniwala na papalitan ng computer ang tao Napapalitan ng AI ang tao. Hindi. Kailangan mo, yung tao ngayon, marunong gumamit ng AI. So that from where he was na sasagot ka ng telepono, service call, now you can use AI to interact, not just to get into what we call a service operation, but get into service plus sales operation. So, you create opportunities for the company being a person knowledgeable about AI and knowledgeable also about swinging maybe a service call into a sales opportunity. So, kailangan maging mapanuri tayo, kailangan mapataas natin ang kalidad ng ating mga workers, and we have to upskill them in AI. Unfortunately, I don't really see that happening in a big scale. Some are doing it, but not in a big scale, kaya medyo at risk yung ating BPO.
Bali, Boss Rex, working hand in hand with AI, not totally na mapapalitan ang mga Filipino workers natin with it. Pero, Boss Rex, syempre, alam naman nga natin, it's emerging. If it happens po, magiging at risk ba ulit ang economy natin? If it happens.
It is going to be a big risk. Kasi nga, as I've said, I mean, there are approximately about 1.2 million workers na nasa BPOs, no? And for us, it's a double whammy kasi, alam mo, while the OFWs are bringing in a lot of the remittances, ang OFW kasi nagke-create din niya ng tinatawag na social problems and implications. Kasi, can you imagine, children not growing up with their parents because they're abroad. So, ang ganda nung BPO kasi nandito sila nagtatrabaho. Minsan, wala nga lang sa oras dahil, di ba, sometimes they work night shifts. But at the very least, they're in country. So, nandito sila, napaalagaan nila yung pamilya nila, nakakasama nila yung mga anak nila. So, it is an industry that we have to defend really well. Pero, pag napalitan niya ng AI, or hindi nga lang AI baka mamaya mapalitan niya ng ibang bansa na advance on AI. Remember, why are we a big producer for BPO services? Why are we at the forefront of it? It's one, because of our language. Lamang tayo sa Ingles in Asia and in places of the world, di ba? So lamang na lamang tayo. Kayang-kaya na ni AI ang English na yan Di ba? Pwede nang palitan ng ating mga call center agents. Pangalawa, what if there would be a country like India, for example, or even China na gagamitin nila yung AI for the English, di ba? So, matatapatan na nila yung talent ng Pilipino. So, it's not just AI directly, but other countries who are good in AI, who will be using AI to level the playing field with us. So, we're going to be at risk in terms of losing jobs to them well into the future. So, talagang kailangan makipagsabayan tayo. Kailangan magamit natin yung AI to elevate the level of service, elevate the level of standards, and upskill our workers so that they will never be replaced or overtaken by some other provider who will be so accustomed to using AI in their services.
Yun nga, Boss Rex. Thank you so much for that input. Kung mapapansin nga din natin na isa ang BPO sa kilalang industry here in the Philippines na maraming Filipino workers. And yun nga po, as you've mentioned, parang pumapangalawa po ba sila sa OFW na
Yes.
big contributor here
Sa ngayon,
in the Philippines?
yes.
Okay. So, thank you so much for that, Boss Rex. So, next tayo, Boss Rex. Since we've talking about the Philippine market, meron pa po ba or anong mga magagandang industry in the Philippines na pag-focusan ng mga investors and want to be soon investors natin? Kasi alam naman natin na medyo down siya, pero may mga certain sectors po kasi as I can recall na magandang pag-focusan.
Okay. There are sectors and industries that will do well given the scheme of things and the movement of our economy. One of them certainly will be the banks. Makikita mo, ang ganda ng kita ngayon, BDO, BPI, Metrobank. These are very good operations. And if you're going to be looking at the strength that they give as investments, ano yan double barrel yan. First and foremost, their margins are good and they've been very profitable all through the last 3 to 5 years. But on top of that, I think one of the biggest pluses that they carry would be their dividend payout, experience. Kasi may mga nagbibigay dyan ng anywhere from 5 to 7% na dividend. So, even if the prices don't go up, you're going to get paid for waiting. Kasi yung dividendo mo, mas mataas sa time deposit. So, it's very important that you pick out these banks that give really handsome dividends. Second, syempre alam natin yung property, pa-recover yan. Bakit? Bumababa ang interest rate Pag bumababa ang interest rate, may tinatawag na propensity ang tao to borrow money to buy houses. Kasi bumababa ang mortgage loans. 'Di ba? So, pwedeng magkaroon ng brisk movement sa real estate segment and we have to take advantage of that in terms of our investing as well. Tas lalo na yung mga property firms natin, yan din ang may-ari ng pinakamalalaking mall. 'Di ba? So, if consumer spending will remain robust at kung makabawi na yung tinatawag na retail spending, then our property companies will also go up because they also own a huge chunk of the retail base in this country. And then kalat-kalat na yung iba. Ngayon, malaking bagay din talaga yung REITs in the scheme of things kasi ang taas din ng dividend payout nila eh. Plus, you're actually buying property portfolios. Medyo sabihin na natin na parang undervalued yung property portfolios na yun ngayon. So, dalawa makukuha mo. A low-price property portfolio plus a future stream of dividends that would be top-notch. So, this would be one of the type of instruments or one of the particular sectors that I'm going to really be advising people to take a look at seriously.
You've mentioned two, boss, banking industry, saka properties. With those, boss, yun yung para sa inyo, here in the Philippine market, mas maganda pag-focus na ng mga Filipinos?
Yes. Kasi, unfortunately, siguro, ang sagot ko dyan, Trisha, marami talagang dapat na industriya ang makikinabang in what we call the mega trends of global economies. So, dito, kaya medyo kumbaga sa pagpipilian, parang vanilla flavored ang Pilipinas. Banking, property, luma di ba? Luma. Alam mo, ang mega trends na tinatawag, ito yung mga bagong mga industriya, mga bagong drivers of economies na talagang magdadala ng global growth. Very unfortunately though, wala tayo. O ano ba itong mga ito? Number one, technology. Hindi lang technology. Kung makikita nyo ang nagpatakbo ng mga markets, kaya nagsiliparan ng US, China, Singapore, their technology companies have really been soaring, right? Pero hindi nga lang natin pwedeng sabihin technology eh. Merong subsector yan na napakabilis din umakyat, AI. So AI is a subset of technology. At hindi pa lahat nasa AI. Meron na ngayong robotics.
Oo nga po.
So specialized. So, ang tanong, ito yung mga drivers ng growth in many sophisticated markets. Tanong, may technology stock ba sa Pilipinas? May robotic stock ba sa Pilipinas? May AI stock ba sa Pilipinas? Wala eh. So parang hindi tayo participating in that particular sector. Second, energy. Di ba yung tinatawag na data center energy, sustainable energy? Yung mga energy companies natin are into power in a very general sense. Hindi sila specialized for data center functions, hindi sila for technology usages. Sayang, wala din tayong ganong play dito, no? And third, a global trend is health. Healthcare. 'Di ba yung mga tinatawag na mga bio companies ngayon na talagang nagre-research sa gamot sa cancer, stem cell treatments and all that, yan ang nagsisiliparan ngayon in more sophisticated markets. Tanong, meron bang ma-investan sa Pilipinas na healthcare company? Wala din eh. So, alam mo, yung mega trends na nagsha-shape ng future growth, current and future growth, wala dito. So, ang mga choices natin, yung mga sinauna, property, banking, parang, di ba, parang nakakaano tayo na vanilla flavored lang tayo, samantalang yung ibang countries, they are being driven by all of this new wave of companies that will dictate, global growth, that will dictate the global economy.
So yun, Boss Rex, you've mentioned, totoo nga, no? Kung napapansin ko din kasi sa portfolio, yung mga bagong trends, and yung reason kung bakit tumataas or continuously na nagsosoar high, wala tayo dito sa Pilipinas. And does that restrict us na gano'n na lang ba talaga ang Pilipinas na the plain ones, kung tutusin, plain waffle, gano'n yung mga sectors natin?
Kasi parang nasa sa atin din kasi yan if you just accept it just like that. Or are you resourceful enough to find ways to deal with this on a personal level? Ang sabi nga natin as early as last year, we've been telling people through Ramper Financials, they can actually invest in foreign markets, in technology, in consumer trends, in thematics, even geographic focus, Asia. Lahat yan meron Last year pa, hindi ko nga sasabihin last year, baka nga in the last 3 to 4 years, nandyan na yan. Pero hindi alam ng marami. At siguro nga, I'm sorry to say this, very unfortunate, but blessing in disguise, nangyari dito itong nangyari para ma-realize ng mga tao, teka lang, ba't ako may concentration risk? Kasi, Trisha, pag naka-invest ka sa iisang ekonomiya, ang tawag dyan concentration risk. Meaning, pag yan, ekonomiyang yan lumago, swerte ka, aakyat ka. Pero pag ang ekonomiyang yan nag-shrink, nagka-problema, kagaya ng nangyayari sa atin ngayon, syempre, solid na solid din yung impact sa'yo. Wala kang kawala. But, what if yung 30%, 40% ng portfolio mo na ilagay mo sa funds na nakataya sa teknolohiya, nakataya sa AI, merong portion na nakataya sa healthcare or global consumer trends. Di meron kang engine within your portfolio that hums well while another portion of it is already challenged. Diba? Kagaya niyan, tapatin natin, ang market natin down ng 13%. Okay? Pero, ang global technology up ng 30 to 40%.
Totoo po.
Soaring
high.
Sayang, di ba? Kung ikaw, and sasabihin na naman na marami, sinasabi ni Boss Rex, napaka-komplikado niyan. Baka ang taas ng kailangang investment dyan. Di ba nakakagulat na you can actually invest in these portfolios for 1,000 pesos. 1,000 po ang minimum. Again, this kind of ages me as well. Kasi nung ako nag-i-invest sa mga ganyang funds, ang minimum niya noon 1 million So, it's only for the rich. It's only for the more sophisticated investors. Pero ngayon, 1,000 na lang. Pwede kang mag-invest sa local, pwede kang mag-invest sa international, medyo hilutin natin ang portfolio nyo so that it is positioned for whatever peaks and throws that the markets can have. Importante na meron tayong tinatawag na diversification as to asset allocation. And why do I say this, Tricia? Kasi there is no asset class that performs very consistently. Maring okay ang fixed income ngayon. Next year, okay naman ang equity. Pero next year, okay ang equity ng Pilipinas. The following year, okay ang equity ng Asia at ng US. Alam niyo po, gumagalaw yan ngayon, pag mali ka ng galaw dahil nandito ka lang sa isang sulok, tatamaan ka. Whereas kung meron kang taya sa halos lahat ng yan, then you are going to be more resilient in terms of performance.
So with this po, it's really helpful, no, na when you're invested globally din, hindi lang sa Philippines, kahit na konti lang yung sectors na pumimilian natin. Pero, Boss Rex, with banking and properties, meron pa ba kayong nakikitang sectors na may potential if in case na magbago ulit yung shift ng economy natin?
Kanina nasabi ko yung REITs, no? But there are other pockets as well. Meron tayong tinatawag na mga consumer goods companies, no? Very focused on retail. LTG, isa na dyan. Mataas ding magbigay ng dividend. Siyempre, badly battered ang ating mga telecom and I feel na babawi sila. Lalo na, baka nga next year, magkaroon po ng IPO ang GCash. Siyempre, makikinabang dyan si Globe. No? So, ang ano ko lang, Tricia, I want to go back to what we can do to help them as Ramper Financials. Kasi hindi lang naman access sa mga investment propositions ang ginagawa ng Ramper Financials eh. Kasi kami po, open architecture nga. So ano ibig sabihin nun? We can be unbiased in our advice. We can lead you to investing in a set of securities na angkop dun sa inyong objectives, angkop sa inyong time horizon, at saka sa risk appetite ninyo. But on top of being an unbiased advisor, ang isa po sa binibigay ng Ramper Financials, yung tinatawag, Tricia, na objectivity. Kasi di ba, magkausap tayo. Pera mo yan. Kasi pera mo, hindi ko pera, I'm not emotionally attached. So between you and me, mas magaling ako maghawak ng pera mo kasi hindi ako attached. Karamihan, natatakot pag may masamang mangyayari. Karamihan, medyo may konting kaba. Pag pumasok yan sa dibdib mo, baka magkamali ka na sa mga decision mo kasi emotionally attached ka. Ang maganda sa pagkakaroon ng RFF, no? Sa pagkakaroon ng Ramper Advisor, magkakaroon ng tinatawag na konsyensya na, a friend who really cares for you, who looks at your best interest, and who's not technically attached emotionally to your investment position. Kaya napaka-importante kay Ramper na bigyan tayo ng role ng ating mga ka-RFF to be able to do that for them. Yung tipong makakagalaw tayo ng tama at makakapagbigay tayo ng advice na tama.
Bale, boss, to recap, when it comes to investing here in the Philippines, also globally, it's really good na meron tayong Ramper to help our clients to position theirself kung saan ba sila mag-i-invest in. Kasi usually, without proper guidance, medyo nililito sila, although na-overwhelm, and most especially, there's a lot of common misconception when it comes to investing.
Pinakaayaw natin dyan, Tricia, no? Yung maging opportunistic sila. Yung tipong, ay, mataas ang interest ng ganun or mataas ang kita ng ganun, doon na lang ako. I-withdraw ko to, ililipat ko lahat doon. When that happens, alam mo, minsan, nagkakamali lahat eh. Kasi, sabi ko nga, ang Pilipinas, mababa ang presyo ngayon. So, it presents good value. Ngayon, ibebenta nila, dahil takot sila dito, lilipat sila sa kabila. Eh, sa kabila, baka naman overheated na yung market na yun. Yun ngayon ang palubog, ito ngayon ang pataas. Tama-tama lipat mo. Parang ano yan eh. Iyahalin tulad ko to, no? Parang kang sumakay ng jeep. Di ba? Yung jeep, sinakyan mo para makarating ka sa bahay nyo. Tapos tumigil yung jeep, ang tagal na nakatigil. Naging balisa ka na, naiinip ka, hindi siya gumagalaw. Anong ginawa mo? Bumaba ka. Sumakay ka ng bisikleta. Di ba? Tapos, pagsakay mo ng bisikleta, umandar yung jeep, iwan ka. Di ba? So, you have to make sure na kasali ka sa iba't ibang proposition. Again, based on your objectives, based on your goals, the propositions are going to be there to help you achieve your dreams. Pero napakaganda ng may advisor ka para masasabi talaga sa'yo honestly kung talagang naisip natin na ganito because of our experience in the past, mabibigyan natin siya ng tamang advice to be in a better foothold to take advantage of this situation.
It's really a calling na I hope sa mga ka-RFF natin and sa other viewers natin out there na take this as a sign na there is an opportunity to invest. Actually, there's a lot of opportunity to invest even before. And ngayon, pinapresenta siya. It's also visible din, not only in the Philippines, but sa emerging ng AI. Yun nga din po yung sinabi niyo pagpasok ng new payment po ba? Ng GCash. Pumasok na din po dito. Alam niyo yun, mga ka-RFF, sa sobrang daming topics na natackle today, I think sana maging calling na siya at alam mo, maging trigger na it's really time to invest. And we here at Ramper, yun po yung pinaka-goal namin to help you invest with as low as 1,000 pesos. And we're also here at Ramper Studios and Ramper Financials in general to help you achieve your financial dreams. And Boss Rex, to finally recap and to close our official topics, meron po ba kayong final advice to our ka-RFFs in terms of, is it really worth it pa ba na mag-invest here sa Philippines?
Mga ka-RFF, again, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for the attention that you're giving us. Thank you for watching our video and or listening to our podcast. Ang masasabi ko lang talaga, Tricia, is this, no? That we're offering our services to them, and we come from, having the heart in the right place. May eksperyensya po kami, napagdaanan na namin yan. Sabi ko nga sa marami, takot na takot sila sa inflation, takot na takot sila sa exchange rate, the confidence level is really so low. Alam nyo, napagdaanan natin yan in the worst of times, no? Pag binabalikan ko yung experience ko noong 1984, okay? 1984, yung inflation, 50%.
Grabe.
Can you imagine a 50% inflation? Yung market, talagang bagsak na bagsak. And ito po, documented ito in many of my friends, my books. Marami ng interview, pinakita ko ng mga dokumento. Alam nyo, noong 1984, bumibili ako ng PLDT at around 11 pesos per share. 11 pesos. Yung 11, bumaba ng 650, bumaba ng 350. Lugi-lugi, di ba?
Laki ng baba.
1986, nagka-revolution. After the revolution, naging presidente si Cory. After Cory, naging presidente si President Ramos. Alam mo yung 350, 650, 11 pesos, umakyat ng 980, umakyat ng 1,800
Pesos per share.
pesos per share. So, I can always look back and I can even tell myself, sana pala tumodo ko. Di ba? So, I have told myself, every 10 to 13 years, nangyayari po ito. And instead of frowning upon these incidences, instead of bitching about all the things that are wrong about our country, maybe it's the best perspective to look at this as an opportunity. Ano kaya yung pwede kong i-take advantage sa mga nangyayari? Because we know things will change. We know that tide will turn. And when that happens, where are you going to be? Where are we gonna be? So gusto po ni Ramber, mag-partner tayo, magsama tayo, and let us navigate these very treacherous waters today. Let us make sure that we're in the right position, the right portfolio allocation, so that based on our goals, we can hit targets over time, taking serious consideration in terms of our runway, our time horizon, and our risk appetite. With that, alam po namin na hindi itong huli. Magkakausap po tayo muli. And I guess, all I wish is for the best of everyone sa kapwa nating mga Pilipino. I think you have to admit to yourself and think this way. The best is yet to come. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you so much, Boss Rex, for another episode and another insightful comments with today's episode. Anyways, to our ka-RFF, the market may feel unpredictable, but downturns are temporary. Use them to start to diversify and strengthen your portfolio. Focus on your long-term goals, invest steadily, and stay resilient. Beyond investing, we all play a role in shaping the Philippines' growth through the choices we make and the leaders we elect. Muli, my name is Trisha, your host for Ramver Studios, and together here with Boss Rex Mendoza, the chairman of Ramver Financials. Thank you and see you again, mga ka-RFF, to our next episode.